Welcome to our news desk on QTV. The headlines. President Edgar Lungu has tasked Dr. Ngandu, the new finance minister, to stabilize the economy. The Zambia Congress of Trade Unions, ZCTU, has rubbished the National Health Insurance Scheme in its current state. The Law Association of Zambia LAS says it will seek the Constitutional Court's intervention over what it has described as retrogressive provisions in the Constitution of Zambia Bill 2019. And now is the news in detail. President Edgar Lungu has tasked a new finance minister, Ngandu, to ensure the stability of the economy. Dr. Ngandu takes over for Margaret Mwanakatwe, who was fired yesterday. Speaking when he swore in Dr. Ngandu at State House, President Edgar Lungu says he expects the new finance minister to amortize debt and coordinate financial activities for the different ministries and their related entities. President Lungu says, given Dr. Ngandu's experience in matters of economic management, he has no doubt that he is well able and equal to the task. He notes that Dr. Ngandu, many years at the central bank, has given him practical insights into the country's economic landscape. President Lungu has reminded the new finance minister that his new assignment requires him to work with many teams from both government and cooperating partners. Dr. Ngandu, who was until his appointment Bank of Zambia Deputy Governor Operations, has previously served as Managing Director at NATSEV and Development Bank of Zambia, Director General at the then Zambia Investment Center, and has also served as Muchinga Province Permanent Secretary. He also worked at the United Nations office in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. The Economics Association of Zambia has advised newly appointed Finance Minister Ngandu to draw up a roadmap for amortizing Zambia's debt as one of his first major tasks. EAZ President Rubinda Habazoka says his association also expects the implementation of the goods and sales tax to be among other major issues Dr. Ngandu will deal with. Dr. Habazoka has told QTV News in an interview that the EAZ further expects the new finance minister to deal with low liquidity levels in the economy. He states that the EAZ is confident that with Dr. Ngandu's vast experience in both private and public sectors, the future of Zambia's economic development is bright.
I think that Dr. Ngandu, of course, is up to task, and one of the major issues we will have to deal with is the issue to do with sales tax. Then we will have to deal with low liquidity levels in the economy, and then he also we'll have to put up a clear map of how we are going to amortize debt, especially the Euro bonds as they fall due. But overall, I think with his vast experience in both the private and public sectors, I think we as an association are very optimistic, and the future of Zambia's national economic development is very bright.
Meanwhile, People's Alliance for Change PAC President has urged new Finance Minister Ngandu to immediately drop the introduction of the sales tax. Mr. Banda says Dr. Ngandu should advise government correctly on the disadvantages of sales tax that he has his first assignment. He has also advised Dr. Ngandu to close his ears from propaganda and political expediency when it comes to fiscal discipline. Mr. Banda says the new finance minister is inheriting, among others, an economy that is on its knees, an unstable kwacha, a plethora of challenges in the business sector, massive job losses and massive debt on the country's books. He has since urged President Edgar Lungu to give Dr. Ngandu the space he needs to implement strategies that could salvage the economy.
He must be firm in order to ensure that his reputation is protected by all means. He needs to close his ears to propaganda and political expedience when it comes to fiscal discipline. I'd like to also advise the new finance minister that the first on his assignment must be to drop the sales tax. The sales tax issue has brought so much anxiety and uncertainty in the economy. We shall not sit here to school the learned man about the disadvantages of sales tax, as we are confident that he is very much aware of them. All we shall do is to advise him that this issue must be abandoned once and for all, as we firmly believe that the country will stand to benefit. And then the other issue that I'd like to advise the new finance minister is that he must have a listening ear. I think one of the things that probably could have made Honorable Mwanakatwe fail is because he didn't want to listen to the concerns of the stakeholders. For the most part, some of the problems we're facing today would have been solved if people in government listened. Hence, I would like to urge you, Dr. Walyangandu, that please give a listening ear to the stakeholders. I'd like to also take this opportunity to urge the President and the entire team in government to give Dr. Walyangandu the space he needs to operate and implement his new strategies. We wish him all the best, and we look forward to seeing what he has in mind. We hope that we shall see a different, minister in the Ministry of Finance, doing things differently.
The Zambia Congress of Trade Unions, ZCTU, has described the National Health Scheme as rubbish in its current state. Speaking during a stakeholders consultative workshop on the 2020 national budget, ZCTU President Nkole Shimba says his union will stand firm in resisting the National Health Insurance Scheme, stating that it is only in Zambia where such a scheme has been placed under the Ministry of Health. Mr. Chishimba has urged the media and members of the public to take an interest why the NHI scheme is being described as rubbish. Meanwhile, Mr. Chishimba says the workshop is aimed at getting proposals from stakeholders on the 2020 national budget.
When my colleague described what is happening over the National Health Insurance Act, or rather the process, or authority, whatever it is called, as rubbish, I equally want to say, indeed it is rubbish. But I want to urge you colleagues to be more interested, because this is not a battle between the Zambia Congress of Trade Unions or workers' representatives and the Minister of Health. It is a battle between you people and the ministry. The ministry versus the people. So we must be more interested than ever. We must understand why we are calling it trash, so that at the end of the day, we realize that it is not Nkole Chimba, it is not Mukukao Njovu or Wene who is fighting this. We may appear in the media, we may appear in the electronic media discussing these issues, but if it appears like we are the only one dealing with the matter, then we are diluting. So let it be a battle. Let people understand that if they are waging a war, it's not about us. Money is being collected already. The money will start being collected, and 100 million, is it per month, SG? Per month, 100 million will be collected, and the effect, the service itself will only commence after four months. That is around November, somewhere in November. Now, where is the money going to go? So it is something that we will never speak kindly about this, and we hope to fight it. But the fight is not going to be, like I said, between us and government. You people must be interested and support in what we are doing. That's why sometimes we are saddened to see that what we say sometimes does not see the light of day.
Speaking earlier, ZCTU Secretary General Cosmas Mukuka says the process leading to the National Health Insurance Scheme lacked thorough consultation and consideration of views from stakeholders involved.
But this is a strange in Zambia setup, because in most of the countries in the world, the health insurance is a component of labor and is a social protection scheme which is done and reviewed at tripartite consultative labor council. In its style, the way it stands now, how are they going to review it? Because when you look at that act, it just gives the Minister of Health power to review, to appoint, to do what, to everything, to review even the contribution, even to suggest what would be the package alone. Whether it's in a drunken state, he thinks now, tomorrow I'm going to add the X-ray to this, it has to happen. This is how smelly it has become. We don't mind whether we are dribbled at one stage, but we should just remain on the record that we did it. And that's why we shall remain very stubborn to the way they are doing the health insurance. We are not going to allow the rubbish we are seeing in the way they are managing the health insurance. We are not going to allow the stupidity we are seeing in the way things are unfolding in the health insurance especially, because that's our brainchild, and we shall stand ready to condemn and stand ready to do that. But here we are. Let's also bring in something without hesitating to contribute, so that at the end of the day, we should also boast that we have brought another thing. So apart from just bringing one, you are invited to bring as many suggestions as possible, which can help in making sure that the country Zambia survives on the brains of labor and civil society like yourselves.
And Frederick Elbert Stiftung resident director Helmut Elisha has commended the ZCTU for being an active voice for the general public, particularly the workers in the country. He is optimistic that the workshop will help come up with thorough proposals for the 2020 national budget.
So some people say we are a bit surprised by the fact that organizing our society, we have very good ideas and we give the confidence to politicians to set the framework. Cosmas has just cited the national insurance bill. So where I'm also happy to see that last week the ZCTU has taken the initiative to inform the public about their position. The core what I understand is, so first they say it's very good that there is the initiative to have a regulation and a framework on the national health insurance bill. Equally they say, but we are puzzled that we see also here something, what young people, other people are sharing with me, we see a big gap between a good intention and the implementation. And where they even say we have, how to say, a negligent, a bad, we have not that application, putting the thing on the race like we think it should be along the general idea what it is. So the core is.
The Law Association of Zambia LAZ Council says it will seek the Constitutional Court's intervention over what it has described as retrogressive provisions in the Constitution of Zambia Bill 2019. LAZ has resolved to put into motion a number of interventions with the ultimate aim of achieving a rethink about a number of retrogressive provisions in the Constitution of Zambia. In a statement made available to Q News, the LAZ Council has cited some of the retrogressive provisions as the reintroduction of the position of deputy ministers, the introduction of a mixed member electoral system, but leaving it to Parliament to decide the exact nature of such a system. Provisions relating to a coalition government in a presidential system and the uncertainty regarding the constitution and composition of the judiciary. LAZ says it will seek the intervention of the wisdom of the judiciary by moving the Constitutional Court to pronounce itself on a number of these provisions and strike out all retrogressive provisions from the bill. The association says it will also engage the government through the Minister of Justice to convey its concerns about the retrogressive provisions of the bill. The LAZ says it is further reaching out to other stakeholders in the constitution-making process to join hands with it in building the consensus on the concerning provisions of the bill. The association has noted that a number of proposed provisions in the Constitution of Zambia Amendment Bill 2019 do little to advance but in fact erode the gains achieved through the Constitution Amendment Act No. 2 of 2016. It says it remains committed to playing its statutory role of furthering the development of law as an instrument of social order, social justice, and as an essential element in the growth of the country's democratic society. The Mine Workers Union of Zambia has welcomed the constitution of a team of members of parliament by President Edgar Lungu to be part of the Konkola Copper Mines negotiating team that already comprises government officials. President Lungu says he wants transparency in the process and that the negotiating team will also include unions and the chambers of commerce. MUZ President Joseph Chewe says this shows that the president is concerned about the mining sector and particularly what is happening at KCM. Mr. Chewe states that the appointment of Anthony Mwamba to lead the team of members of parliament shows credibility on the part of the president and the government. He is hopeful that the whole process will be all-involving, transparent and credible to the benefit of all parties, especially the workers. Mr. Chewe was, however, quick to state that the outcome of the negotiations over KCM will determine whether the process will be credible.
So the inclusion of Anthony Mumba, the MOPs, the commerce and other stakeholders, it brings credibility. And I think it shows that the president is not just the mayor talking, he's acting on what he is supposed to do. And that I think the outcome of this process will not start pointing at this one, that one, and that this process to be transparent and credible, and that work and that expectation of the workers and the other stakeholders. I think they will be happy that more stakeholders are included, and they hope that even these stakeholders that are coming on board, they should not think for themselves. I think it may be necessary that even other stakeholders that are not included, who could be cardinal to help this process, I think it may remain even open. So what is the key is now the results. And the results we are going to achieve are the ones that the workers want, are the ones that the community want, and the country at large. So yes, the committee, the burden in the committee is very good, but you must also be aware that the country and particularly the workers want certain direction for the benefit of the country. So
the Forum for Democracy and Development, FDD, has employed a new Minister of Finance, Dr. Walyangandu, to implement a solid fiscal consolidation plan to tackle Zambia's debt levels and prioritize prudent expenditure. FDD Acting Chairperson for Information and Publicity, Yotam Teachalo, says Dr. Ngandu should consult widely among economic stakeholders on economic policies such as the controversial implementation of sales tax and mining tax regime, among others. Mr. Mteachalo says the new minister has a daunting task to revive the troubled economy, which will not be an easy undertaking in light of the prevailing economic situation. He is, however, hopeful that the decision to appoint a new Minister of Finance is in the best interest of the nation and that the move will build confidence in the economy.
However, we can only speculate that Honorable Manakatwe has probably been removed because of the poor performance of the Zambian economy and also the controversial implementation of the sales tax, among others. We therefore want to take this opportunity to congratulate Dr. Walyangandu for being appointed as Minister of Finance. We believe that Dr. Walyangandu is very qualified and actually has a lot of experience in the financial sector. So we wish him good luck as he endeavors to revive the economy. We just hope that the decision taken by the President to relieve Honorable Manakatwe in the middle of the national budget is in the best interest of the nation, and that it will build confidence in the economy and also with cooperating partners and other financial donors.
All People's Congress Party President Nelson Musoni has urged President Edgar Lungu to reshuffle the entire cabinet in order to enhance efficiency and bring back sanity to the governance of the country. Mr. Musoni feels a more holistic approach is required to change the current stalled dynamics and the poor performance of a government. Commenting on President Lungu's decision to drop Margaret Manakatwe as Finance Minister and replacing her with Dr. Walyangandu, Mr. Musoni states that the kind of piecemeal and cosmetic changes to the structure of government falls far short of public expectations and will not add any value or efficiency for as long as the incompetent ministers remain in government. He has since urged President Edgar Lungu to identify all incompetent ministers and remove them from government. Mr. Musoni says the country desperately needs a fresh start if it is to win back local and international confidence.
If he is to change the current stored dynamics and the poor show and performance of his government, without doubt, a far more reaching and inclusive cabinet reshuffle is expected and by all means is long overdue. But we also think that this kind of piecemeal and cosmetic changes to the structure of government falls far short of public expectations and will not immediately add any value or efficiency for as long as the incompetent and the corrupt criminals remain in government. Our unsolicited counsel to him is that this government, the PF government, requires a full cabinet reshuffle. Again, we urge him to identify those indicted criminals and remove them from government. This country desperately needs a fresh start. It needs to break with the past and start on a fresh page.
The Basic Teachers Union of Zambia, BETUS, has instituted its own investigations in the matter which a teacher from Mumba district is alleged to have raped a pupil for reporting for class late. A 50-year-old head teacher of Mioye Secondary School in Mumba district is being sought after by police for raping a grade 10 pupil of the same school. It is alleged that the pupil reported late for school and the head teacher called her to his office to exculpate herself, and that is when he forcibly had sex with her. Betu spokesperson Kabika Kakunta, who has described the incident as unprofessional and unfortunate, says Betu has instituted its own investigations in the matter to get full details of what really transpired. Mr. Kakunta says if the reports are true, then the head teacher acted unprofessional and deserves an instant dismissal and blacklisting from the profession. He has stressed the need for professionalism among his teachers, stating that parents entrust the growth and safety of their children in the teachers, hence the need for teachers to help in instilling good morals and protecting the pupils rather than abusing them.
The incidents that happened in Mumba, if proved to be true, that a head teacher was forcing learners who came late to go into sexual acts, is very unfortunate, because it all clearly comes out that that head teacher was unprofessional, and that conduct is clearly tantamount to instant dismissal, because you, as a manager who is entrusted to take care of our children, you begin to do the evils that no one would be able to expect of a head teacher to be able to conduct themselves in such a way. But of course, we have our structures on the ground who are following up the issue, and we hope that that comes out not to be true, because the expectation of ourselves as professions in the education sector is that we must be able to handle our children in the manner that they are supposed to be handled, so that at the end of the day, we are developing learners that are going to contribute to the economic development of this country. And this all depends on the morals that we teach them. And if we are the ones that are engaged into immoral issues, then we know there's nothing that we are teaching our children. And therefore, such teachers obviously must be ejected.
Some Lusaka residents have complained about the high mealie meal prices, which they say have negatively impacted their livelihoods. They have appealed to government to intervene and ensure that mealie meal prices are reduced. They have wondered why the price of mealie meal has remained high when the country has been recording bumper harvests. Here is a report.
The sharp rise in the prices of mealie meal because of various economic reasons has caused concern among consumers in the low-income bracket and those in the informal sector. This could be seen from the views expressed by some Lusaka residents who have appealed to government to lower the cost of mealie meal. This reporter took to the streets of Lusaka to find out how the mealie meal prices is impacting an ordinary Zambian citizen. The residents have complained that the new prices of the commodity are very high for most families to afford.
Ndarama sizioneka, then unga walunda, which means yapaya isebambiri maningi. Load shedding yabwelesa njala. And then unga futi walunda yabwelesa njala futi still more. So powder to present ndarama powder to kwanisa 110, 105. It is very difficult. So that's the result. We are just going for 20. For 12 and a half, and then at 10 kg manyumba.
Back then, the mealie was at 25, now you can buy it at 110, and then which is too costly for us. Like you buy mealie meal, in 2 weeks you have to spend like 210, because in 2 weeks the mealie meal is finished. The other week mealie meal is finished, so it's really affected.
As you can see, Zambia, we are talking about 70% of our people are in informal sector, impoverished. So if a price of mealie meal is costing 100 kwacha, it's too exorbitant. Few families will approach, or a few families will fail to buy a bag of mealie meal at 100 kwacha. So my appeal as a concerned citizen to the Zambia is the Minister of Agriculture and the government to subsidize on the mealie meal prices, at least if it can cost at 50 kwacha.
Despite being uncertain of whether the mealie meal prices will be reduced or not, the Zambian citizens have continued to appeal to government to listen to their cry and reduce the mealie meal prices. Martha Katambi, QTV News in Lusaka.
The World Bank supported water project in Chongwe district is nearing completion. Minister in the Office of the Vice President, Sylvia Charlie Kosa, says only 8 kilometers is remaining before the completion of the project. Ms. Chalikosa, however, states that the remaining works require funding. In an interview with QTV News, Ms. Chalikosa says government is looking at releasing the funds as quickly as possible. She says this is especially given the water crisis facing Chongwe following the drying up of the Chongwe River. Chimbamilonga, Member of Parliament Hastings Chansa, has backed cause to split his constituency into two constituencies. Mr. Chansa says given the vastness of Chimbamilonga, a new constituency that would be created can easily be given the status of a district. In an interview with QTV News, Mr. Chansa has acknowledged that as things are, it is currently very difficult to deliver development in the constituency because of its vastness. He says Chimbamilonga is lagging behind in terms of development as a result of this.
Since my constituency is very vast, like just 10 kilometers from Mpologoso, it goes on up to Lake Tanganyika, up to the international boundary where we are bordering with Congo that side. So it's almost 300 kilometers from Mpologoso. So it is very advisable if that can be considered for delimitation, so that it will divide Chimbamilonga constituency into two, so that maybe in future the new constituency might be also maybe upgraded to a district. It's a very big area.
Events hire company Rooney's has launched a cancer awareness campaign. Managing Director Lian Sin says the campaign is meant to complement what other organizations have been doing to create awareness about all forms of cancer. Ms. Sin has told QTV News on the sidelines of the launch of the cancer awareness campaign that her company wants to share with members of the public how cancer can be detected and treated.
So we've embarked on a campaign, a cancer awareness campaign, and what we wanted to do was, it's been affecting us personally and from a company perspective, we wanted to share, how to catch the cancer early. That's the cancer awareness. It's really because if you can get the cancer early, it's treatable, and you can do it. And that's really what this is all about. It's actually just awareness, and it's the beginning of the end of our campaign.
Well, that item concludes our news, but before we go, here is a recap of stories in the headlines. President Edgar Lungu has tasked Dr. Walyangandu, the new finance minister, to stabilize the economy. The Zambia Congress of Trade Unions, the CTU, has rubbished the National Health Insurance Scheme in its current state. The Law Association of Zambia says it will seek the Constitutional Court's intervention over what it has described as retrogressive provisions in the Constitution of Zambia Bill 2019. That's the news. Bye-bye. God bless.